Hey, what is going on guys? RvzStealth here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some new champions and some new builds that are being played during the first day of Worlds. So I'm probably going to make one of these videos every time some new champions pop up or some new builds pop up, and we're going to take a look if these builds and these champions are actually viable for solo queue and how strong they would be for solo queue, because I feel like a lot of people are going to see these new champions being played and they're going to wonder if they're good for solo queue or not. So that's what we're going to be going over in this video. So with that being said, guys, let's get started. The first champion we're going to take a look at here is going to be Nocturne. So Nocturne was played by Levi in the Marines game against Fnatic. And if you guys have yet to watch that game, I would highly recommend it. It was a very entertaining game, but nonetheless, the Nocturne pick actually wasn't too bad for this situation. And it's actually not that bad in this current meta and for solo queue. With this meta right now being very focused around that bot lane, around that sensor support, if you get your bot lane ahead in the early game and you can just get them to their ardent sensor quickly and get that lane snowballing, then the game's pretty much over. If you've got like a Twitch or a Kog'Maw on your team and you have an ardent sensor support, if you give them 2 or 3 kills in the early game, then you should be able to win that game as long as you do play it out correctly. So with the Nocturne, just power farm to that level 6, look to use your ultimate whenever it's off cooldown down bot lane, and you can just get a really good snowball going and just end up winning the game through your bot lane. The next champion we're going to take a look at here is going to be a top lane pick in Nautilus. Now, Impact played this champion in both of C9's games so far during the group stages. I think there's a few different reasons to why Nautilus is seeing play now and to why he's actually not that bad of a pick in this current patch. So previously and in previous patches, a lot of people were still going for a Sunfire Cape rush on Nautilus and not really investing into any mana in the early game. But the current build that a lot of people are doing now on Nautilus, and the best win percent build on him, is going for that Catalyst Rush. The reason you can go for a Catalyst Rush now on the Nautilus is because you can actually turn that into a tank item. In previous patches before they introduced the Abyssal Mask, you'd have to turn the Catalyst into the Rod of Ages, and therefore it wasn't the best item on the champion because you don't really want to be building AP. The fact that you can turn the Catalyst now into a tank item just synergizes much better with Nautilus. So depending on your lane matchup as Nautilus, either finish your Abyssal Mask first, or if you are up against an AD top laner, then you can go for a Righteous Glory first and a Sunfire Cape, and then finish your Abyssal Mask off later on into the game. But the fact that you can now invest in some early mana on the champion and it's not going to be wasted makes him a much better pick in the top lane. And the second reason to why I think he's pretty good right now is because with these Ardent Sensor supports, it's oftentimes hard to reach them in the back line. It's hard to get onto them and just CC them so you can take them out of the fight. But with Nautilus, if you got the Righteous Glory, you just pop that, you use your ultimate on the Ardent Sensor support, you flash auto attack to get your passive stun off, you hit your Q, and they're just going to be chain CC'd for a super long duration. So I think that in the current state of the meta right now, with getting rid of those Ardent Sensor supports very important, Nautilus does definitely fit in pretty nicely. And then the final champion we're going to take a look at here is going to be Ivern, and then after this we're going to take a look at a few builds and playstyles that some players have been using. So for Ivern, with the Ardent Sensor being such a strong item right now, it does synergize very well with him. I will be playing Ivern in solo queue if your AD carry is playing one of those hyper-scaling ADs. So the Kog'Maw, the Twitch, the Tristana, Ivern is great paired up with them. If you can just get to your redemption and your Ardent Sensor before the 20-minute point or around there, and you can start team fighting, then you're almost guaranteed to win the fight as long as you can protect your AD carry and keep them safe. And as well, if you got an Ivern as well as someone like a Lulu or a Janna, then it's going to be very hard to actually lose those games as long as you can just sit by your AD carry, protect them, and allow them to do a ton of damage during team fights. So next up here is going to be a new build or a new rush item for Varus that almost every single pro player is doing here at Worlds, and it's going for that Rageblade rush on Varus. Now the reason you'd want to do this as opposed to the Blade of the Ruined King now on him is for a few different reasons actually. The first one is because with these Ardent Sensor supports and with them getting that item early on into the game, they're going to have the item at about the same time you have the Rageblade, and therefore with that Ardent Sensor giving giving you a lot of attack speed, it's gonna allow you to proc your Rage Blade and get up to that 6 stacks even faster. So it just allows you to deal a lot more damage, or it allows you to have the potential to deal a lot more damage with that Rage Blade in the early game, and it just allows you to stack it a lot faster. And if I'm not mistaken, the Rage Blade is going to synergize very nicely with your W on Varus, because with the Rage Blade, every other basic attack will trigger on hit effects an additional time, and therefore with your W on Varus, it will allow you to trigger that just a lot more, and it's going to allow you to do a lot more burst damage and a lot more consistent damage in the early game once you get this item. So overall, it just gives them a very good early game power spike and a 1-item power spike, which is very rare for a lot of these AD carries. And then kind of similar to Kog'Maw, the ability power you do get from the Rage Blade isn't completely wasted, because like Kog'Maw, Varus does have some AP ratios on his abilities. He's got an AP ratio on his W as well as his ultimate, and his ultimate does have a 1.0 AP ratio on it, so that synergizes very nicely with that ability power from the Rage Blade, and it does make your all-in once you pick up this item even stronger. And then lastly here, we're going to talk a little bit about the barrier heal as well as the relic shield that is going on right now down in the bot lane. So if you are playing with an Ardent Sensor support, or if you're playing an Ardent Sensor support with your AD carry, then I would recommend taking the heal on your support a lot of the time and then taking the barrier on the AD carry. The reason you do this is because with the heal on the Ardent Sensor support, you're going to be getting more benefit out of taking that on the support champion than the AD carry, mainly because once you do finish that Ardent Sensor, you will have another way to proc it with that heal. And then with the barrier on your AD carry, it just allows you to trade really well in the early game, and it allows you to all in pretty nicely. It allows you to survive the lane as well if you are going up against an all-in enemy lane. So it just gives you a lot more survivability overall than if you were to take something like the Ignite or the Exhaust. So if you are going to use this strategy, I would just make sure that you do let your teammate know and just remind them that they do have that different summoner spell. I think that at least one time during every game that I play bot lane with this combo, my support either just uses heal at the weirdest time thinking they have the Exhaust or the Ignite. So if you just constantly let them know that they have this different summoner spell, then this setup is going to be the better one to use. But if you are in the lower elos and you're not really going to be communicating too much with your bot lane partner, or they're just not used to taking these summoner spells, then it's probably just better off taking the heal on your AD carry and then taking the Ignite or the Exhaust on the support. It just does depend, like if you're duo or if you do communicate it with your support or with your AD carry. And then as for the Relic Shield start on the AD carry, this is still good for solo queue, but you're not going to want to run it as much in solo queue as you would in the competitive scene. The only times that you really want to run it in solo queue is if you are with that Ardent Sensor rushing support. Don't take the Relic Shield start on your AD if you're playing with an aggressive support like a Thresh or a Blitzcrank or a Leona, because you're not going to be able to do as much damage in the early game with that Relic Shield. You only want to be taking this if you are looking to scale, if you are looking to give your support that extra gold in the early game to grab their Ardent Sensor quicker. So that is going to be all for this video. If you guys did enjoy this and you would like to see me do another one, if these new champions pop up or these new builds pop up here at Worlds, then be sure to let me know down in the comments below, and be sure to leave a like on the video. If you guys have yet to subscribe yet, then be sure to do so. So thanks for watching, guys. Have an awesome day, and I will see you in my next video.